what important thing happened in 1849 in this country? I'm sorry? Dred Scott was in 1850, well, it started a lot longer before it ended, 1856. But what happened, something very, very important happened in 1849.
The gold rush?
Manifest Destiny was important all the way through the 1800s.
The gold rush?
The gold rush, exactly. Go west, young man. You know, go get your fortune. Go out to California. Well, why was that so important in the slavery movement? Well, because California had enough people by 1850. They had enough people for a state. That's how many people went across the country looking for fame and fortune in the gold, in finding gold in Sutter's Mill. Most of them never found gold, and you know, it was kind of a bust for them. But anyway, we had a lot of people there. 1820, we had something called the Missouri Compromise, which I'm sure you all are aware of. Anything above this latitude, whatever that latitude, 54 or 50 or something like that. Anything below that was slave, anything above it was free. Well, then we had these border states here. Missouri, you know, people take these as souvenirs. Nobody has tried to take Texas. I guess it's just way too big. It's hard to fit in your pocket. But yeah, and I guess nobody cares about Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. But yeah, every once in a while, I see somebody walk out with one. I'm thinking, should I say something? Those aren't souvenirs. But anyway, so this thing happened in California, you know, and we had all of these people that wanted to come in as a free state. So the Southerners were saying, well, that's not fair. You know, California's a big state. You know, it doesn't. You know, it goes in, you know, all the way down here and it comes all the way up here. You know, how does that fit in with the Missouri Compromise? Well, California still wanted to be a free state. So the South, using their heads, said, okay, California can come in as a free state, but we want a Fugitive Slave Act. We had one since the time of the Constitution. It was just never enforced. So what the Fugitive Slave Act, and they agreed to it, it was part of that compromise. What it said was if you are caught helping a slave escape, you will be treated as a thief for stealing property. You can be thrown in jail, you can be fined, you can lose everything. That's why that whole compromise of 1850 was so important, because it so affected people. It so affected the slavery issue. But instead of people saying, wow, I'm not willing to risk that, it became, the Underground Railroad movement became stronger and stronger and stronger. This was 11 years before the Civil War. All of this stuff in here happened right before the Civil War. We were talking about the Dred Scott decision, which in effect said you can't sue for your freedom because you have no rights under the Constitution, meaning you're not really a person. You know, so you can't sue. That was Dred Scott. So all of this, 1854, we had the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Remember Bleeding Kansas? Judge Taney, the same Supreme Court justice that was in the Dred Scott case, said, oh, well, let them decide whether they wanted to be slave or wanted to be free. Let them decide. So all these people, including John Brown, whose body lies a molding in the grave that you're hearing right now, went out to Kansas, and the abolitionists were killing off the pro-slavery people, and the pro-slavery people were killing off the abolitionists. And finally, Kansas came in as a free state, but a lot of people were killed over that whole issue. So, you know, Kansas was right next to Missouri. Nebraska didn't really matter. Nebraska was too far north. There was no reason for slavery there, but this was a big country. It's also what brought Abraham Lincoln back into the political spectrum, because he had run for office in Illinois and he kept losing and stuff, and so he kind of backed out of politics. But the Kansas-Nebraska Act just really teed him off. And he came back in and he started having debates with Stephen Douglas, the same guy he was debating in the presidential election 6 years later. So that was the Kansas-Nebraska Act was very important for bringing Abraham Lincoln back into the political spectrum. Are you finding the ones that did not own slavery over there?
Yeah.